Welcome to KIRSTIcast, the show where we hope to illuminate, entertain, and engage our listeners, helping them create the life they want. I'm your host, Kirsti Manna. Hi, everybody, and welcome to KIRSTIcast. I'm Kirsti Manna, and I'm so glad you're here with us today. Joining me in the studio today is Bill Warner of Warner Works.
Hey.
And in case you guys didn't know out there, Bill and I have been married for a really long time, like 2 years.
Do you really think that's funny?
Yes, I do. I think it's hilarious.
It's just kind of silly.
Well, that's me. Sometimes I'm silly. Now, we've been married for a while. And Bill and I bring to the music business all of our knowledge and experience and everything together. And so we thought that it would be a lot of fun in this episode, which is part 2 of 10 things every artist needs to know about how to succeed in the music business. I know it's a long title, but that's what we want to talk about. And we hope that you went and checked out part 1. We have a lot to say about this subject. And so we thought we would do parts 1 and 2. Now, last time you visited us on the podcast here, you probably heard us talk about things like, what's your brand? Who are your fans? What do you crave about your craft? Do you play an instrument? Those are all really important things. And you need to go back and listen to that podcast if you haven't already. That's episode 68. And you can, you're listening to a podcast now, you can listen to this podcast anywhere you get a podcast. And today we want to start by talking about a really kind of hard thing to understand for some artists. Are you objective about your career? You know, some people, I know Bill's going to agree with me on this, some people really aren't very objective about their career. They're kind of romanticize their career. Don't you think, Bill?
Yeah, that's a pitfall.
And I think that a lot of times artists, they don't really dig deep into why they really want to be an artist. See a lot of that in this business. You see a lot of it through some of the music you might hear on the digital streaming platforms. I see some of that even in Nashville. You know, Nashville is such an easy place to be, and it's real different than other music centers. And I think a lot of times people get caught up in that they want to have a music career, and they don't really think about everything that goes with it, because it is really hard to have a music career. And people are going to say to you, oh, it's really hard to have a music career in the current climate. But I think it's always been hard to have a music career.
The artist needs to be the hardest working person in their organization.
That's right.
They need to outwork everybody.
That's right.
So a career, if you want to have a big time career, it is a full-time commitment, and there's just no end to how much you could apply yourself.
It's so true. I mean, I think even if you want, you think about people in our hometown of Youngstown, Ohio, that have careers and they're successful in that town. Everybody knows who they are. They go to see all their shows because they really know how to put out all the energy that's needed to make things happen. One person I always think of in Youngstown is Leanne Binder. She was a guest on the podcast a couple months ago. And she is somebody that just puts out so much effort in regards to getting her music out there, letting people know where she's playing. And when she's on stage, she's just really giving it her all.
She gives it up. She's fun to watch.
Yeah, she is. She's really good. Now, the next thing we wanted to talk about is, what kind of a career do you want? Some people don't care about being a superstar. Some people do. And there's all kinds of ways to get on either path. And of course, in Nashville, a lot of people, they want to be star songwriters. They want to be star artists. And I think there's room for everybody. And now the whole thing about the pinnacle, being at the top, there's so many tops to the music business now. I mean, you could be tops on Spotify. You could be tops as a touring artist. You could be tops as the person who has the most cuts, and then you turn into being a music artist. You're starting out as a writer, and a lot of artists have gotten started that way. they've had hits as writers. And then somebody said, well, wait a minute. If we're selling all these songs, we're making all these royalties, selling all these downloads, whatever you want to say, with this particular writer's music, maybe they should be an artist too.
Well, we're focusing on things that we feel strongly about that are necessary for a professional career. But I think about you and I, when we were in college, we played music, and one of the most talented persons I've ever heard play piano was in our group. And he had no aspiration to come to Nashville or go anywhere and set the world on fire. But he could play Chopin, he could play Oscar Peterson, and just a completely wonderful, gifted musician. But he's a music director at a church, and that was his calling. That was what he wanted out of a music career.
Well, and success, it proves right there, success doesn't always equal celebrity,
Correct.
Because some people, their level of success is completely different than somebody that, wants to go all the way. Because there's an awful lot of sacrifice in any business. If you want to really go the long distance, there's a lot of sacrifice, and especially in the music business, it's a very lonely thing. I mean, I remember when we would be on the road and we were missing all kinds of people's weddings and friends' graduations and babies being born, all kinds of stuff. And I remember I used to cry sometimes on the road because I thought, what am I doing out here?
So how do you feel about that now, looking back?
Well, those people are still my friends. I just think it was
And the kids are all grown up.
Yeah, the kids are all grown up. I think it's just, that's funny. I think it's just kind of I was having sentimental moments, because I was always really committed to what I was doing in regards to performing and touring. And I really liked that. And then when I became successful as a songwriter, then, that kind of changed for me. And also being out on the road with an artist on a major label, I kind of thought, wait a minute, I don't know if I want to go through some of what this artist is going through with this label. And so, it made me turn some of my focus in another direction. And I'm glad I did. Mm-hmm. And I've still had a lot of opportunities to perform. I still love it. I'll always love to perform. Heck, if I'm talking to you, I'm probably performing.
I don't think you've ever met a microphone you don't like.
That's true. That's really true. You know me well. So that's something that you have to really decide, what kind of a path you want to go down when it comes to what kind of a career you want. These things are really hard to decide on sometimes. It's a very soul-searching kind of situation. Mm-hmm. Another thing that we wanted to talk about is, do you write your own music? Oh, man, you have so much control if you write your own music. Bill, did you want to comment on that?
Well, as an artist, if you do write your own music, I think it gives you an extra level of credibility. And of course, in the last 20 years here in Nashville, we've seen a great financial incentive for artists to write their own music. In the past, that wasn't a given. Artists would be talented at selecting songs, and this town here was run by publishing and outside cuts and so forth. But that's changed a great deal. Right. And now that is really the exception and not the rule. And that used to be flipped. Yeah.
And if you don't really feel you're great as a writer, then find people you can co-write with, because you can learn so much being in a room with other people. And there's plenty of co-writers to be found in Nashville, Tennessee. If you're here in Nashville, you come to visit and you're, pursuing possibly moving here, make sure that you go and you check out writers' nights and you try to network with people, because I'm telling you, I've never been in a town that is so hot on that as Nashville. Just the thing of networking.
Driven by songwriting.
Yeah.
NSAI, the Nashville Songwriters Association International, says it all begins with a song. And that's very true.
I think it's really true. And I really think that's something that people that have been here for a long time, they just kind of pass it down, that philosophy. And I think people get really drawn into that because it just feels so real, Something else that we're really into is having goals. And I believe you should have goals in this way, a goal for the week, a goal for a month, goals for 6 months, goals for 12 months. When you're, like, for example, at LuckySky, when we're going to put out a single, we have to, kind of reverse engineer that.
Yes, I was just going to mention reverse engineering because it kind of gives you a path forward. Even though you haven't literally performed what's necessary to reach the goal, you've at least gone over it in your mind and you've explored possibilities as to how you can make it work.
Yeah. Yeah. So make sure that you have goals in place wherever you're going to be in trying to pursue a creative career. Do you have a team? What kind of a team do you need? Well, that's
A passionate one.
Yeah, and it's something you need to decide. When you're a kid, your team's probably your parents or your aunt or your grandma or somebody like that that's helping you out. And then as your career grows, you'll need more people, and you become more successful. You'll need more people to help you manifest all those things. Because it's real. That's what gets to me in my heart for the artists these days is people that don't really have the finances or have the team members, and it's all on the artist. It's just a lot to deal with,
Yeah.
But I think that's really something you need to be thinking about, and maybe it's something you put in your goal list.
But some artists, their mother or father or uncle or whatever goes right up with them as they rise to success.
Yeah, exactly.
So they don't always outgrow them because no one's going to care about you like your relatives or, your mother or father.
Or your friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you'd hope so anyway. Another thing is, have you identified your biggest frustrations and your biggest assets?
Being objective.
Yeah, back to that. I think that's really important. I think it's important as well to not be comparing yourself to other people, comparing yourself to what other people are doing. You never know how long somebody's been on the ride, so to speak, and what they've had to go through to get where they are. And there are very, very, very few people that have overnight success. They always say Nashville's a 10-year town. You'd have to be here 10 years for anything to really happen. I don't know if that's really entirely true for everybody, but I think it's true for a lot of people because you just don't arrive in a place like Nashville and it just starts cranking. You have to, get your feet wet. You have to learn, make mistakes, meet people, figure it out. So
these days, some TikTok artists are kind of accelerated because they're popular and they're kind of skipping steps along the way because they rose to fame through the popularity of TikTok. And that could be dangerous to a degree because they haven't paid the dues and haven't learned how to perform to a crowd, for instance.
Yeah, real crowd.
A real crowd.
Real people.
Yep. I mean, I've heard booking agents mention this as a problem.
Yeah.
With a lot of buyers.
Yeah. Another one is, how do you hold yourself back? I see some people sometimes, they hold themselves back because they don't want to take voice lessons because they think it's going to change their voice, or, they don't want to get into performance coaching or, a movement coach sessions. I don't know why, but I think those kinds of things are really helpful because big artists work with people like that. They have coaches, they have people that are helping them block their shows. So that's really something to consider as well. And again, that's another thing that you have to have as a goal, or you have to have financially, you're able to fund that.
That's not cheap to hire expert advice.
Yeah. I think that's really important. How prepared are you for performance mishaps? Like, what if all of a sudden you start coughing on stage, or you lose your voice the afternoon that you have a big performance, how do you deal with things like that? You have to understand what you're going to do. I remember when we worked with Eye Candy, and I would always tell them to bring extra clothes, an extra bra, and make sure you have extra strings, make sure you have a power bar, all these things. You have to be prepared for your performance, and not that you're going to eat a power bar on stage, but something could go wrong with your wardrobe, and you have to be ready to, leave and come right back and like nothing ever happened.
Some of that is learned the hard way. Through having been through problems on stage. And hopefully you learn from it and end up better on the other side.
I was talking to an artist recently, and she was talking about how she was on stage and she had 3 guitar strings break, and then she goes to use her guitarist's guitar or something like that, and then he had a couple strings that broke. I mean, it's just crazy that would happen. There must have been some crazy thing with the humidity in that venue, but what are the odds of that happening? That's
apparently 100%. That's some weird stuff.
It is. One of the last things that I wanted to bring up is, do you treat your career like a job? And maybe you have to work another job to support your career. But when you're working on your music or on your creativity, are you treating it like a job? Are you showing up every day at the same exact time to work? Are you sitting down to write? Are you keeping writing appointments, not canceling them? Are you making plans to record your music and you're prepared, or all these things? And if you have any questions about any of this stuff, you can hit us up. We love to mentor and consult with people about career choices and about what to do in your music career to really make it be successful, because we know we've had times that were tough and times where we made the wrong choice about something in our music career and wasted some time. I don't know. Did we waste time, Bill? Maybe not. Maybe, we learned a lot from those mistakes and decided it was something that we were never going to do again. So we hope that you enjoyed all of that we've had to say about the 10 things every artist needs to know. I think we exceeded 10. we lost count. I think we got to 15 or something. But there's just so much to know about your career, and first of all, to know about yourself.
Right.
It's really important to really know who you are. And it's okay if you decide that you don't want to make a big move and come to a place like Nashville. It's okay if you decide that what you thought about yourself isn't really true anymore in regards to pursuing any kind of job. Maybe something somebody told you should do, and now you've decided you don't want to do it. But
at one time, I wanted to be, the world's greatest guitar player, but I made a decision that wasn't in the cards for me. I had other talents that I could apply myself to, but in my case, I was objective about that. Now, I don't really regret all the time that I spent working on my craft, because I use it every day that I'm producing. But you have to have a gut check with yourself.
Yeah, it's really true. And sometimes it can be a little disheartening, when you figure out that, maybe you need to go this other route. But I just think it's really important to learn how to trust yourself and to trust your gifts. So many times people overlook their own gifts because they're worried about being something for somebody else, or they're worried about comparing themselves to somebody else. So just always remember, be really honest with yourself, with who you are and what you really, really want. Not what you think you want, but what you really, really want. And I hope that all that advice has helped you. We want to thank you so much for checking out KIRSTIcast, and we're gonna end the show with a song that I wrote with David Kent. It's called Family Thing. We thought it'd be kind of fun to play Family Thing, since Bill and I are family. and you're all of our family out there listening. We hope that you're going to.
Three cats are considered family,
and the
too.
cats, but they're never on the podcast. They wouldn't say anything anyway, so nobody would even know they're here. But we hope that you're going to go back and listen to all the other episodes that we have. We're so excited that we're almost to 70. Next episode is going to be the 70th episode of KIRSTIcast. It's very exciting. And don't forget that we're going to be putting out our Christmas podcast, so you'll get to enjoy a lot of music from different female artists that I admire and inspire me, and I love their music. And so I hope you're going to be watching for that. And you can always check out Kirsti at Kirsty.com. You can check out what I do there, and also at Songwriter Girl, Bill at Warner Works. You can check out LuckySky Music and everything that we have going on there. And also, don't forget to think about purchasing my online course, Spark Your Creativity, especially if you are really wanting to delve more into your own creative life. We hope that you're going to look at that and consider getting that for yourself. You are worth it, so we hope you're going to invest in it. We're going to be back next time with a guest, some more things to say, and we hope you're going to be tuning in. And as always, whatever you do, stay inspired. I'm Kirsti Manna, and I'll see you next time. Mama just called, said it's gonna be in August, and Uncle Ken is from this year. And I began to dread it the minute that she said it, but I'll probably be the first one there. And I already know who's gonna show, and what I'm supposed to bring is a family thing. Now dear Aunt Rita's a Sunday school teacher, but she's drinking more wine these days. 'Cause we just buried her Boston Terrier. We say he's in a better place. And her brother Lester is scoping out investors, swears it ain't a pyramid scheme. It's a family thing. We say things we wouldn't say to anybody else. Sometimes you look across the table, you're staring at yourself, but we stick like mud. God help anybody who tries to come between. You know what I mean. It's a family thing. My first cousin and her second husband and a new baby come through the door, and everybody's oohing and eyeing and cooing like they never seen a baby before. But nobody mentions it's only been 7 months since you got that ring. It's a family thing. My little sister still likes to call me names. Daddy still complains. I guess some things never change, but we stick like mud. God help anybody who tries to come between. You know what I mean. It's a family thing. Lord knows I didn't choose them, but I sure would hate to lose them. 'Cause I love them to death, everyone. But thank God these reunions only 3 days long. Cause we stick like mud. God help anybody who tries to come between. You know what I mean. It's a family thing. It's just a family thing. Oh, we stick like mud. We stick like mud. It's just a family thing. You've been listening to KIRSTIcast.